Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Midtown Video's Infocom 2025 Debrief. Welcome to our millions and billions of viewers on the internet. Thank you so much for joining us. Special welcome to those of you who could make it in person. Thanks for coming. We're streaming live from the conference room of the universe. Very exciting for Midtown Video to launch this showroom. That's not what we came here for today. Today we're doing the greatest hits from Infocom 2025. Thanks for joining us. And without further ado, here we are. I am Jesse Miller. I'm the CEO at Midtown Video. For 41 years, we have been delivering systems our clients can use with pride and confidence. I like to say we only build systems that work. We only have happy customers. If you haven't heard of us, let this be your first day. Get in touch with us after the show to hear how we can do more for you. Now, at Infocom 2025, the biggest show in our industry, Midtown Video showed up and asked 3 specific questions. We were on a mission. And the questions we asked are, is it beautiful? Is it brilliant? And is it bold? Now, you might not ask all the time, is technology brilliant or is technology beautiful? So I want to elaborate a little bit more on what questions I was asking. But first, I want to share the questions that we did not ask on the floor at Infocom. We didn't bother to ask, does it work? We expect it to work. That is the very baseline. I mentioned that Midtown Video builds systems that our clients use with pride and confidence. That's because the 2 biggest complaints we hear are, number 1, it's too complicated. Number 2, it never works. And so those former complaints are our guiding light to make sure that our clients know it will always work and it will bring you confidence. More importantly, it will bring you ROI. We treat technology as an investment. We expect our clients to make more money from the investments they make in their technology. So does it work? Doesn't even enter it. You will not hear about it from Midtown Video if there's a question as to whether or not it works. Another question we did not ask is it the newest? True, we got to stay cutting edge. We want to stay ahead of the competition. And for a product to make it onto our preferred list, the manufacturer has to have a support department. They've got to have spare parts. They've got to have an established record of delivering systems that our clients can use with pride and confidence. So if it's the newest is not the first question we ask. And finally, the question we did not ask is it the cheapest? Once again, we treat technology as an investment. The more you need to impress your clients, win a big settlement, secure high net worth clients, you're not going to do it by getting away with the least expensive amount of technology you can. So these are the questions we did not ask. Let's get to the questions that Midtown Video asked at Infocom 2025. The first one is it beautiful? And what do I mean by that? Will the architects let us keep it? How many times have we walked into an beautiful space that was designed with interior decorators and architects only to hear that AV was an afterthought, and no, you can't put those speakers in because they're too ugly. So we're looking for technology specifically that's beautiful, that even if we're not brought in at the design phase, we know the interior designers will love this technology. The second question is it brilliant? Does it make our life easier? When you walk into the room, does the technology act like it knows what it's supposed to do? We're not fighting technology. Once again, it's an investment. It's going to make our business accomplish more of our goals. It's going to make your business accomplish more of your goals. We don't want you struggling with technology. We want you to think that the technology is brilliant, meaning it knows what it's supposed to do. And finally, is it bold? Does the technology create a lasting impression? Will the people that you're trying to reach walk away remembering your brand because of the experience they had in perhaps your conference room of the universe, for example? And with that, let's get into Infocom 2025. The first item on the list, and by the way, with each photo that we share, with each slide that we share, I'd love to hear your thoughts if you agree. Is this beautiful? Is this bold? Is this brilliant? Maybe more than one of those 3. Because if it isn't at least one of those 3, should not have made the list. Here we are, MuxWave, transparent LED. LED is huge. If you go to the Middle East, there are no more LED televisions. Everyone is building with LED video walls. And so MuxWave said, what if the video wall was transparent? And I think that's brilliant. Here it is on display at Infocom 2025, but to highlight some of the really impressive uses, I wanted to share this photo from MuxWave's website. This is the interior of a mall, and on the second floor railing, they had a bunch of glass, and because they invested in transparent LED, they can entertain their crowds, they can reinforce their brand, and they can project video and audio on what seems like holographic, what really is just transparent LED video walls. Now, maybe some of us are outfitting malls with technology, but more likely, my friends who are watching today on the internet, my friends who are in the room, are outfitting offices. This is a really impressive opportunity to create a little bit of transparent privacy in certain otherwise purely transparent rooms, and reinforce your brand with messaging, and impress your visitors, impress your clients, strike fear into the hearts of your enemies with fantastic technology. So, sticking with the theme of LED, I was impressed by PixelFlex. I got to thank Dawson Pete and Midtown Video's West Palm Beach representative who took some fantastic pictures on the show floor. This one is a spiral LED wall. And down on the bottom, you'll see a complete sphere of LED. So yes, we know people are building with LED monitors, but can we do something new? Can we do something impressive and bold that will leave an impact on the people we're communicating with? I thought this made the list. Next, I'm so pleased to have Koskit from Spectrum LED in the audience today. Thank you for joining us. Our in-house audience will have seen downstairs this demonstration. Spectrum does LED panels, but they've done something so revolutionary. You'll see on the right side of this screen, each individual LED tile is on a motorized arm. So this Coca-Cola panel sort of illustrates what we're talking about. Imagine an LED where the panels could change on the Z-axis. And if you don't want to imagine it, please enjoy this fantastic video. Alex, let's have it. So these are LED squares. And each tile in the LED square is changing its Z-axis, creating a flag-waving effect. We have one other, perhaps more practical instance. Let's see that countdown, Alex. This will also be a standard LED wall that's a total square. But notice that the numbers are not just LED lights and video, they're actually coming out of the wall on a motorized arm. So sure, your competitors are using LED. If you need to, once again, win that competition, may I suggest motorized LED tiles changing the Z-axis. I thought that was phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that video with us, Alex. Brilliant. Now, there was one more LED technology that really got me buzzing. I saw it over at Rowe, and I also saw it at Absen. You know, people are building with LED walls, but what do you do when the Zoom meeting is over? When you turn off your LED wall, you got a big black square on the wall. So Absen and Rowe and LED manufacturers across the globe are pursuing this space of unused LED. And check out what Absen has done. Alex, can we see that video, please? Yeah, so this is an LED tile, but I guess they're combining that transparent LED technology. You'll notice that behind the video, a portion of this LED tile looks like wood grain. That's one option. A portion of the tile on the top right looks like marble, or the epoxy here on the floor of the conference room of the universe. You can imagine putting any kind of pattern behind that, a forest of trees, perhaps your company's branding. The point is, when this finally hits the market, when you call your friends at Midtown Video to design a fantastic, bold, beautiful, brilliant LED wall for you, we can do something that makes that LED wall beautiful even when not in use. So that your boardroom, your millwork maintains its quality of, you know, rich mahogany or whatever it is, you know, black marble. And then when you need to display your message, there it is. I thought that this was both bold and beautiful and brilliant. It was all, if you're happy and you know it, do all three. Thank you. All right. A treat for the eyes, and now a treat for the ears. SoundTube is the inventor of the pendant speaker. What have they done for us lately? They've invented the Mighty Mite pendant speaker. My friends who are in the room after the show, I'm going to treat you to a demonstration. SoundTube has outfitted Midtown Video with 4 silver Mighty Mites. They come in black, they come in white, they come in silver. They sound fantastic, And once again, this is the kind of technology that you can put in front of your interior designer and say, hey, how about these? It's going to match your lighting. You can hang them at the same altitude as other important elements in the room and not have to cover them in fear that your technology is ugly. So apart from sounding fantastic, these are full-range speakers, but at Midtown Video we do couple them with subwoofers. Anyway, apart from sounding awesome, it's my personal opinion that they look beautiful. Soundtube Mighty Mites. Next, K-Array. This photo that, again, I have to credit Dawson and Peden for, really captures what K-Array was presenting on the floor of Infocom. In the foreground, look at that giant speaker. And behind the speaker grill is that chrome horn that accentuates how beautiful this technology is. You don't even have to hear that. You could just look at it and say, I bet that sounds good. Now, of course, if you did hear it, yes, you would be able to confirm that it does sound great. On this same slide, let me see if I can get a laser pointer here. On this same slide, I would love to attract your attention right here. That is the K-Scape rail. Once again, my friends who are in the room will be treated to this technology. Just look above you. If the interior designer says they absolutely must not see the speakers, and your technology team says it must sound audiophile perfect in there, well, once again, we've got a solution for you. It's the K-Scape rail. This is high CRI LED lighting. It can be daylight, it can be tungsten. We can dim between the bicolors. And if you're getting really fancy, you can engage the top firing RGBW LED lights. So you got a little blue splashed on Midtown Video ceiling. We can change that color for you. But those are the distractions. What's really happening is that's an 8-foot-long speaker. And it's not just a speaker. It's a K-Array speaker. So it's going to sound like you're in the same room as the participant on the other end of your 108-inch video wall during your Zoom meetings. It's tough to, in a live stream, indicate the sound quality of speakers. My friends in the room, you will be treated to that demonstration. The rest of you, send us a note, send us an email, make a phone call, book your demonstration here in the conference room of the universe. We'll walk you through all the technology here and see what we can do to make your conference rooms really drive return on your investment in technology. So I mentioned that this K-Scape rail is a high CRI LED light that eliminates the need to see speakers in the room. You might ask, what kind of amplifier do you need for that K-Scape rail speaker? And I'm glad you asked, because Powersoft, who recently purchased a big stake in K-Array, this is another Italian company making fantastic amplifiers. This thing is like this big. It's PoE powered, it's Dante enabled, and it's an analog amplifier. So I think I might need two. Maybe I could get away with one for these 8 feet, but I might need two. Certainly one of these Notas for every 4-foot K-Scape rail would power the situation. Because it's Dante, you can route all of your audio digitally to it via, we'll do the Dante seminar another day, but my friends out there who are familiar, see what's going on, see why this is brilliant. You can put this in a plenum space. You can put it in a rack. You could just stick it right on top of that K-rail if you were in a really big hurry. With one cable from your network, you're now sending audio feed, sending power, and powering your K-Scape speakers. I think that is phenomenal. I thought it was a little bit funny down here. It is made by Powersoft. In Italian, it's the Nota, but you might say, not a PoE Dante amp. Yes, a PoE Dante amp. All right. Brilliant and beautiful and bold. I mean, it's all three. Whoa. Void acoustics. All right, we live in Miami. Nightlife is the thing. Sometimes you want your speakers to disappear. Sometimes you want your speakers in the face of your partiers, of your revelers. And once again, Dawson, you nailed it with these photos. This is how to showcase Void. These sound phenomenal, and they look like they're from outer space. Maybe you're not building a nightclub. Maybe you're building an entertainment space in your legal services organization, and it's supposed to look and sound like a nightclub. Well, ask us about Void. It will, I think it will speak for itself. Very good. Moving on. Conferencing. You know, Midtown Video has 4 core competencies, and you just saw video walls and sound systems. Now I want to talk about our 3rd core competency, and that's video conferencing. When you're talking bold, beautiful, and brilliant, and you're talking about video conferencing, you must consider the first name in conferencing to be neat. Now, this is not corporate marketing. This is another fantastic shot from Dawson Peden. This was inside Neat's demonstration booth on the floor of Infocom 2025. And I know that you see the wainscoting, everybody's like trying to approximate what we're doing here at Midtown Video. But what else you see are 2 Neat centers on the table. What is a Neat center? Well, it's like the old OWL, right? 360-degree conferencing, but it's like the, I was going to say the big boy version. It's the professional version. Until Infocom, you could pair one Neat center with a Neat Bar Pro like we have atop our 108-inch video wall. At Infocom, they announced 2 Neat centers. Let's say you've got a super deep conference room. Now, you already know Neat for having what we call multifocus, right? Meeting equity, the brilliant cameras in the Neat Bar know how to zoom and pan and scan so that even people at the far end of the room whose heads would appear very small have meeting equity with the people in the front of the room whose heads should appear very large. The intelligence in the Neat camera is zooming in to make everybody's head the same size. What if you've got a 30-foot deep room? Throw a Neat center in there. What if you want, extreme close-ups, high res? Now you can do 2 Neat centers in the room. All of that is brilliant, but let me share with you what's beautiful about this. The room that you're looking at has 6 cables. Okay? PoE for the Neat Center 1, PoE for the Neat Center 2. Network for the Neat Bar Pro. HDMI between Neat Bar and the monitor. Power to the monitor, power to the Neat Bar. And that's it. With those 6 cables, they're getting something like 128 microphones and 64 cameras. This is brilliant. More to the point, the Neat centers know if I'm looking at the monitor, it's going to cut to that Neat Bar camera. If I'm looking at my friends in the room across the table from me, it's going to take the Neat center angle looking right at me. This is brilliant. If you want to see Neat at work, please reach out to us. We'd love to perform a demonstration for you, put some demo gear in your facility, leave it there for 30 days until you fall in love with it. You guys know the story. A little bit more from Neat that I thought was very interesting. Maybe you've seen their Neat frame, which is like a 15-inch tall. So how did the Neat frame come about? I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a high-level executive conference room and, we've got our PTZ cameras and things are very complicated, and they're like, well, I could just do this on my iPhone. They're right? Apple's got brilliant cameras, brilliant microphones. FaceTime works great. So I imagine, I wasn't in the room, but I imagine the guys at Neat are like, how can we bring that, why don't I just use my iPhone, experience to the C-level conference spaces, to the C-level waiting rooms? And so they gave us Neat frame, Neat frame, 15-inch portable, built all-in-one Zoom room, Teams room. We knew it as a conferencing system. And now Neat has released Neat apps. So you'll notice that the Neat frame in this photo has buttons, call the receptionist, visitor sign-in, delivery notification. This is like a virtual receptionist. It's running, I don't recall the virtual receptionist app, but you can run apps on these things now. And to prove the point, here is that Neat frame on the right with a Neat board on the left, a nice 65-inch, I'm going to say, interactive monitor that does wayfinding. So through a combination of a Neat frame and a Neat board running your wayfinding and digital signage apps, Neat has solved some serious questions on the corporate space, on the corporate campus. I thought that was brilliant. Do we have one more Neat? No. Okay. Our friends from Shenzhen, Yealink, also did something very interesting. Now, I mentioned we don't ask what is the least expensive conferencing system. And on the extremely affordable end of conferencing is Yealink. That's not what impressed me. I didn't ask that question. I asked, is it bold, is it beautiful, and is it brilliant? Let me share with you what is bold, brilliant, and beautiful about Yealink. First, I have not seen noise elimination any better than the Yealink ecosystem. I engaged in a couple of web demonstrations with our buddies, crumbling newspaper, to the point that they were clapping. Yes? I could hear their voice. I could not hear the claps because their intelligent audio DSP is so focused on the human voice and so focused on conferencing that all of the noise sort of disappeared. That was great. But something that's absolutely brilliant is a problem they've solved for me. Often I'm asked, often my clients say, I'm going to be at the board. It's an interactive board. I'm, pulling up plans. I'm telestrating, and the camera's looking that way. Now, I could try to add a presenter angle, but now I've got 2 cameras and a zoom room, and somebody's got to push a button to switch between operator and touchboard. Neat has automated that. They now can create a scenario with 1 Neat board and 1 companion PTZ. Thank you, Yealink, thank you. It all jumbles together after a while. You may want to watch this video at half speed. Apologies for how fast I'm going. Rexy makes a great Cuban coffee. What's brilliant about Yealink is they've got a companion PTZ with their Yealink meeting board that's powered by hand gestures. So if you know that you want to enter presentation mode, you give the PTZ camera a little like this. It enters presentation mode, so you can walk around the room. It'll follow, follow, follow. When you're done presenting, you give it this. It stops presentation mode and goes back to the meeting board so that it knows to catch the participants in the room. It's a very specific sort of niche problem they're solving, yet that problem that they're solving occurs so frequently on corporate campuses where we are asked to take investments and generate massive returns on them. That was Yealink. Okay, Peerless. I didn't think I could be impressed by a monitor mount. And then came Peerless, their ultra-slim scissor mount. Very small monitors to very large monitors. When we're building Yealink systems or Neat systems, we often don't even need a rack. And so we find ourselves putting a little bit of a technology behind the monitor. What Peerless did was combine the ability to mount equipment behind the monitor with the ability to smash the monitor up against the wall as close as possible so it's super slim, what do they call that, low profile. I thought that was very interesting. Now, with respect to technology concealment, there are 2 entrants in the marketplace that must be on your radar. And the first is Heckler. This is the Heckler credenza. Notice there's no credenza. Maybe it's sarcastic, maybe it's tongue-in-cheek, but that credenza is a sound panel that can be branded or customized. It's a mount for your video wall or your video monitor and your video bar. That looks like a Logitech or something like that, but of course it's agnostic. It'll put up all of your favorite conference bars. Here's the cool part. This is why it's a credenza. You take off that sound concealment panel or sound absorption panel, and you'll see that it's concealing technology. You can rack your equipment instead of behind the monitor, behind the panel. This is the piece de resistance. I mentioned that sometimes AV is an afterthought. And because AV is an afterthought, the drywall is up and the walls are even painted before somebody thinks about AV. What if we forgot to put a power outlet at 60 inches above the floor or a network cable right behind precisely where that video bar will go? I'm just going to go back a slide. All of that is concealed by the Heckler credenza. How do you like that? Used to be, we'd have to use some surface-mounted conduit and hope that the paint matches the wall. Now we can just conceal it with a Heckler credenza, even though it's an afterthought. Now, what if you've got a 98-inch monitor or 3 98-inch monitors and you're a little bit concerned that the dirt wall or the drywall wall can't support all the weight of your monitor? Enter the Heckler framework. Now, Heckler framework is standardized widths. It's designed for global rollouts. It doesn't matter how many monitors you need or how big they are or how weak your walls are, because what this is doing is taking the weight of your monitor and offloading it directly to the floor with some shallow stands. Also, they're backlighting their monitors and their cadenzas with LED lights, which I happen to think is brilliant and beautiful, as you can see from the decor in the conference room of the universe. This is something to keep your eye on. If you are faced with outfitting several campuses across the world, standardizing on large, medium, small, large, medium, half small, and giant spaces, but you still want to unify the experience across the board. This is an expandable framework. They call it framework. This is an expandable solution that can manage from 1 to as many monitors as you can imagine in a horizontal arrangement. And once again, it's not dependent on the strength of the infrastructure in the room. It will conceal the fact that all of your electrical outlets are 18 inches above the floor instead of 60. It will conceal the fact that you didn't run network for your conference bar and you got to cut up the wall behind it. It will allow you to run power, network, AV cables, behind the infrastructure. You've got storage space, and it's beautiful just to look at. So that's concealment from Heckler. What about our friends at Leon? Maybe you know Leon speakers for their speakers. Maybe you know Leon speakers for their location in Ann Arbor, home of the world champion University of Michigan Wolverines. Or maybe you know Leon speakers maybe you don't know them at all. Let me introduce you to Leon speakers for their technology concealment. On the left side, you've got something very similar to that Heckler AV wall. So we've got a monitor up here, we've got a speaker bar down here, and then some technology concealments to hide cables and infrastructure. Notice I asked them to take this runner off the wall. When you walk up to a monitor, you might look behind the monitor and see all the AV cables. Even if we are doing neat cable management behind, there are still cables and infrastructure that you don't want to see. So Neat is concealing all of their technology in a, 4-inch deep console. And then my installers are going to be like, yeah, great concealment, but how are we supposed to perform maintenance? And so Noah from Leon said, no problem. He grabs the top of that thing, pulls it out, and that is what you see here, this sort of bar that came off the side for easy maintenance by Midtown Video's audio-video technicians. Let me attract your attention to the right side. I am not the world's best photographer. It's a little bit dark, but on the top here, you'll notice a lens. This is a bespoke kiosk. This is a video conferencing system. The cables run down the legs. The monitor's right here and the camera's right here, but it doesn't look like somebody dumped technology in a public space. They concealed it brilliantly. It's now a beautiful aspect of the architecture, and it functions. It provides return on your investment. Outdoor speakers. Sure, anybody can make outdoor speakers, but what Leon has done here, I think, is phenomenal. Check out that top lighting rim. This is their half size, this is their full size, and their full size speaker also has a little downlight right here. I think you can get them in just white, or you can get them in RGBW so you can set a mood with colors. I mean, I would love to line the walkway to Midtown Videos so our evening attendees can be treated to beautiful sounds with the walkway lit up like this. This is something I would put on any project that is outdoors. It's hard to really say enough about this. This one really struck me. And you can see also their concealment. They've got an LED wall here with that same removable side panel bit in the backdrop, but this photo is about their outdoor monitors. Look how beautiful that is. It comes in black, it comes in white. I think it comes in a couple other custom colors. Okay, we're nearing the end of our presentation. How do I know that? Because we're now into Midtown Video's fourth core competency, which is broadcast and streaming studios. This is a shot of the Avixa TV live studio. Look how much it takes to do a 3-camera shoot. All right, if you've got a technology team reporting to you and they're like, I need more space and I need more crew and I need more gear, this is why. Take a look at how many lights it takes for just this one stage that has 4 people in it. Take a look at how much technology is required to do your simple 3-camera shoot with a teleprompter and a this and a that. Corporations are telling their stories. Sure, you could be investing in a third-party marketing agency. I'm not telling you to stop doing that. I'm just saying your competitors are investing internally in their own corporate television broadcasting capacity. My wife says, don't say television anymore, it's a dead medium, say streaming capacity. Whatever it is, it's video. And it's not just one camera in a Zoom bar. If you're going to get serious, if you're going to do a podcast, if you're going to create content, you're going to need expert guidance in creating your corporate broadcast facility. And here's a little look at what Avixa did. Now I want to draw your attention to this top truss right here. Check out all those lights. My friends in construction trades might be thinking, oh my God, how much do I need to invest in electrical infrastructure to power all of those lights? ICANN has an answer for you, $0. Why? As you'll see here in the conference room of the universe, ICANN has released the Lyra PoE line, Power over Ethernet. So with a PoE++ switch, you can power these half-by-one lights, these one-by-one lights, or these Fresnel lights. They work great for key lights, they work great for backlights, and when you're building your lighting grid, you don't have to spend $30,000 with an electrical contractor to throw a bunch of high-voltage electrical outlets in the ceiling anymore. Now the same Netgear M4350 line of badass AV over IP switches can power your lights. And not just power them, control them. ICANN also has a virtual DMX control board. Of course, it'll integrate with QSys, it'll integrate with Crestron, it'll even integrate with like a physical DMX board. The point is, you no longer have to run power, network, and DMX to these lights. Now it's one cable. Now your lighting grids can be powered by your network. One integrator, low voltage, instead of two, low voltage and high voltage. Don't believe me? Call us up. Have us quote you a nice low voltage lighting grid. I thought this was phenomenal. They keep winning awards for this stuff, and you can see that Midtown Video is fully bought in to the Lyra PoE system. My friends James and Jeff and Brian over at ICANN believe in Midtown Video also. They want people to see that in the conference room of the universe, we are using ICANN's Lyra PoE line. Oh man, Panasonic Kairos. If you're into AV over IP, you must know that SDI is converting to SMPTE 2110, just like 3G SDI is converting to NDI. Now, what machine can handle SMPTE 2110 and NDI and HDMI and SDI? It's Panasonic's Kairos. Kairos? I don't know. But you can see on the right-hand side, we're doing college sports. On the left-hand side, we're doing esports. This is the kind of machine that can run 2 or 3 shows at once. And critically, in combination with all the LED walls that are being built in funky resolutions, you don't have to worry about having one video switcher and then one special, Arena Resolume media server to handle your LED ribbons around the stadium. Kairos can do it all. Broadcast streaming, LED control and play out. And if you haven't heard yet, it's time to get yourself a Panasonic Kairos demo. This was very impressive for me. I was into it. Okay, all right, there's Glenn Seaman from Broadfield. And what Glenn Seaman is holding is Panasonic's AWUE160. You might say, what is so special about this PTZ camera, the AWUE160? Well, my answer to that is it makes the 150 look like a 130. Because familiarly, PTZ cameras have been, sure, you can get away with a robotic camera, but I'd much rather have, broadcast, rear zoom and focus, box lens, like real TV. Newsrooms across the country are replacing their box lens, pedestal cameras with AWUE160s. Finally, remember when, maybe some of you out there remember when Panasonic's DVX100 could give you 24 frames per second in a small DV camcorder. They said, finally, video can look like film. This is another one of those moments. Finally, PTZ cameras can look like broadcast cameras. You will not have to make an excuse for putting an AWUE160 on the show floor. This is a 4K camera with high bandwidth NDI. I think it's got a SMPTE 2110 plug-in. You've got fiber SFPs on this camera. This camera means business. It's about $16,000. You might say to yourself, oh, I'm used to paying $3,000 for PTZ cameras. Correct. This is not that kind of camera. If you are creating television, 4K content for the web, if you're creating high-end video product, you don't have to worry necessarily about continue to buy studio cameras. Just in case you need one extra robotic camera, AWUE160 is going to mix perfectly with their UCX 100s. This camera is worthy of demonstration. If you haven't seen it, you know who to reach out to get one. Glenn Seaman or all your friends here at Midtown Video. By the way, if you did want rear zoom and focus experience controlling a Panasonic AWUE160 or any other PTZ camera, check out the FR1s, the fluid remote head. So when people are not impressed by Midtown, let me put it a different way. Midtown Video's DNA is in broadcast television. And so when our clients are asking, can I buy a camcorder, we try to share with them, sure, you could buy a camcorder, but really you should have a studio camera. Why? Well, your shows can shoot, you want to shoot 10 episodes a day, 4, 5, 6 hours. You're going to ask a talented camera operator to stand behind a camera for 4 hours at a time and create precision moves. You can't do it here touching the lens. You don't want to do it here necessarily on a joystick. But for 70 years, that problem has already been solved for us by television production tripods that have 2 tripod arms with zoom and focus controls right here. Now, we lost that with PTZs. Everybody wants you on a joystick like this. These guys, RCT, have created the FR1 fluid remote head for rear zoom and focus controls, ergonomic controls that allows a talented operator to repeat the same moves over and over and give you studio quality production even though you're using a PTZ camera. Hope I'm not losing you. This was really for my broadcast friends. All right, what about the TriCaster? Man. Alex Girola is in the control room. He's the captain of technology here at Midtown Video, and he's cutting this show on a TriCaster TC2 Elite. They don't sell TC2 Elite anymore. You got to get a Vision now. And they were demonstrating Vision on the floor of Infocom 2025, and we love it. I want to draw your attention to 2 items in this photo. Down here, you've got a Stream Deck. Okay, sure, it could be complicated. Yeah, but look at all those buttons on that control panel. On the other hand, working with a talented firm like Midtown Video, we can understand what your production is like, and we can create macros, easy buttons if you will, so precise and so simple that with a 4-button Stream Deck, you can essentially start your show, start streaming, end your show, end your stream Deck, USB, and you're done. It's pretty impressive. And then up here, you'll notice their 4K PTZ camera. What VizRT is doing a little bit differently than the other PTZ manufacturers is VizRT is including their 4D protocol data on the NDI stream. Why is that important? Virtual production. Why is virtual production important? Don't I have to spend $50,000 and a green screen and a video wall? And no. If you're interested in virtual production, let me put it another way. How many of you in this room or out there in the internet have engaged in a corporate event where there were both cameras and PowerPoint? Everybody. Every corporate event has cameras and PowerPoint. So PowerPoint usually has these flat 2D graphics. VizRT did something spectacular. When using their 4K PTZ cameras that encode the 4D protocol on NDI, I want to show you what you can do to explode, if you will, Alex, your PowerPoint graphics.
With Viz Virtual Studio Go, you can create animated presentations using augmented reality without any green screen. Here we are with a 3D graph coming into the presentation. But what we can also do is use green on the PowerPoint slides so that then we can bring those standard PowerPoint slides into the presentation. So now you can see I've got augmented reality slides which are coming into the presentation. As soon as I change the slide, it goes on to the next slide with shadow that all can be set from Viz Virtual Studio Go. And we can, of course, move the camera at the same time. So, as we're going through the presentation, we can drill closer into a particular element of the slide or the presentation. This means you can take your standard PowerPoint slides and bring them into Viz Virtual Studio Go very easily.
All right, thank you for that. To put it simply, not everybody's using augmented reality production, AR production just yet, but everybody's using PowerPoint. What if we could help you convert your single camera, multi-camera productions that use PowerPoint into these augmented 3D graphics scenarios? All it takes is a 4K PTZ camera from VizRT and a VizRT Virtual Studio Go device. It's about $14,000. You're already using PowerPoint. You're already using robotic cameras. Let us help you take that leap to making jaws hit the floor. Virtual reflections on the floor, shadows. If you're watching professional football, if you're watching soccer, in the beginning of the game, the dragon comes into the stadium and does all these fantastic 3D kinds of graphics things. Also popular in election coverage, those bar graphs that the in-house pundits can sort of walk around. All it takes now is one camera and a $14,000 virtual studio go. In September, Midtown Video will have one here on premise. We can give you guys some in-person introductions. Finally, we are going to end on bold. Thank you once again, Dawson, for these photos. Nothing says bold like karaoke at O'Shuck's Bar in Orlando. It's our biannual tradition at Infocom. And being here in the conference room of the universe, you can count on us to have karaoke in the room. Streaming folks, you're not going to be able to enjoy that, but the rest of you, sign your names up on the list. Let us know what song after the show. We'll crank it up. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. It has been wonderful to share the greatest hits of Infocom 2025 from Midtown Video, where we are delivering systems to our clients to use with pride and confidence. It had better be bold, it had better be brilliant, it had better be beautiful, and then we can guarantee it will bring you an incredible return on your investment. Thanks everybody for being with us today. Thank you for our in-house audience. It was fantastic, our millions and billions of internet viewers. Check us out in September for our next one. Thank you, everybody.